Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane was a fight we all waited for, and it ended with a single finger to the eyeball. UFC 321 didn't end with a knockout, or a submission, or even a robbery. It ended with Gane accidentally, or maybe not so accidentally, poking Aspinall so hard in the eye that the fight had to be stopped. A no contest. Months of hype, training camps, and world title implications, gone because of a lazy, open hand jab. Eye pokes have been part of MMA for forever, but after nights like this, it's getting ridiculous. So today, we're asking the question, how do you stop eye pokes in the UFC? Because apparently, after 30 years, no one in the UFC has figured out what to do.
It's a bit of a weird question, right? It was ruled a no contest because of an unintentional eye poke. What does it take to make an eye poke intentional, and is there even a way you could ever prove that?
Who the fuck knows? Who gives a shit?
Let's get one thing straight. Eye pokes aren't new. They've been ruining fights since the 90s. In fact, one of the earliest examples comes from Vale Tudo in 1995, when Dutch kickboxer Gerard Godot literally eye gouged Yuki Nakai so badly that Nakai went blind one eye. That wasn't an accident, that was a war crime. But in modern MMA, it's usually accidental, at least that's what the fighters claim. It's not a thumb jab, it's a poorly timed frame. It's not a gouge, it's a rangefinder. And every fighter who does it somehow says the same thing. I didn't mean to. Jon Jones turned it into an art form. He'd stiff arm opponents with his fingers spread wide, like he was checking their tonsils from across the cage. And he never got punished for it, not once. Apparently, if you're great enough, you can commit light assault on live television and it's fine.
The reason why he says that is because I do poke people in the eyes, and it's very illegal, but I do it.
Every time an eye poke happens, people blame the gloves. And honestly, they're not wrong. The UFC gloves are designed like tiny bear traps for your fingers. They're stiff, they force your hand open, and because they're replaced before every fight, they never get broken in.
It's the worst part of the night for me when I fight, is putting those gloves on. You start getting a burning in your forearms just to make a fist. You're constantly fighting against yourself just to make a fist. It's constantly pulling you open.
The natural thing
The
for
natural
those
thing is,
gloves,
boom,
keep your
it
hand
makes
open.
no sense. It pulls you here. And then to make it, you literally have to strain the whole time with your forearms.
Everyone complains.
That means every time you extend your arm, your fingers naturally point forward. Combine that with adrenaline, distance control, and sweaty chaos, and you've got yourself a recipe for unintentional eye injury. Compare that to Pride FC gloves. Those gloves had more curve and padding near the fingertips, so the hand naturally formed a fist. You could still grapple, but it discouraged fighters from pawing with open hands. That's why you almost never saw eye pokes in Pride. In the UFC, however, it's like watching someone play Operation with real consequences. Fans have been begging for a redesign for years. Even Trevor Whitman, Justin Gaethje's coach, created a prototype for curved gloves that could eliminate the problem. Dana White saw them, he's held them, he just never used them. Apparently the UFC was interested in them, but they wanted all the rights to the gloves, so it was never implemented. Apparently, fixing gloves that cause blindness isn't as urgent as launching Power Slap Season 2. After UFC 321, the crowd booed Aspinall for not continuing, which, to be fair, is insane. He got poked knuckle deep in the eyeball, as he put it, and people were mad that he can't just walk it off. Veterans like Jim Miller have been speaking about this for years.
You want to know a secret? I've got hours inside the octagon wearing these gloves. It's not the gloves. Look, I can close my fist. I can bend the ends of my fingers without the glove even moving. So if it was the glove that held my hand open, I could still go like that. But like most of these eye pokes, it's like that. My hand's not getting held open like that. Are you fucking kidding me? What causes the eye pokes is that little bitch inside that's like being passive and avoiding the fight and not being aggressive. And that little voice needs to get punished by an immediate point being taken away. And in my opinion, a portion of the purse. And then I think you would see him stop real quick because it's not the gloves.
Miller, who's fought more times than people have blinked, says the gloves aren't even the issue. He says it's the fighters, that people fight lazy, paw with open hands, and never get punished. And honestly, he's right. Because how many times have we seen a fighter warned for eye pokes, only to do it again 30 seconds later? It's like a toddler learning what no means. The truth is, eye pokes are a perfect storm of bad incentives. Fighters extend their hands to measure distance, the gloves encourage that motion, and referees rarely enforce the rule. The current system punishes everything except the thing that blinds people. You can lose a point for grabbing the fence, but poke someone in the cornea, you get a warning and a short break. So fighters keep doing it, consciously or not.
And it's very illegal, but I do it.
Because there's no real downside. If you land one, you might get a breather. If it's bad enough, you might escape with a no contest. It's the only illegal move in MMA that can save you from losing. The UFC loves to call itself as real as it gets, but maybe it's a little too real when fighters are coming out half blind. It's 2025, and somehow nobody has fixed the sport's dumbest problem.
Who gives a shit?
So what's the fix? Fans, fighters, and commissions all have their own ideas, but they basically fall into 3 camps: new gloves, stricter punishment, or both. The most obvious solution is redesigning the gloves. We've talked about Pride's curved gloves, and they worked. They naturally forced the hands to close. The UFC could adopt a similar design tomorrow if they wanted to, but here's the catch. They'd have to admit that the current gloves are flawed. And when has Dana White ever admitted fault in anything? Whitman's glove design, which apparently the UFC tested, had curved padding and tighter finger channels, preventing open hand frames. But the UFC never released it. Maybe because changing the gloves would mean spending money. Or worse, it would prove the fans were right all along. Then there's the other camp, people like Jim Miller, who say it's not the gloves, it's the lack of punishment. Right now, referees treat eye pokes like parking violations. They warn you again, and they let you keep doing it. Some fighters have literally poked their opponent multiple times over and over again in one round and still kept all their points. So the solution? Make it hurt. Take a point immediately, even for an accidental poke. If it looks intentional, disqualify them. And maybe, just maybe, hit their wallets too. Miller even suggested docking part of a fighter's purse for an eye poke. And honestly, that might be the only language fighters and even promoters understand. And then there are the creative solutions. Some people have suggested goggles, actual goggles for fighters. Like you're about to watch a heavyweight title fight between 2 guys dressed like they're going scuba diving. Safety is great, but if you ever need to wear eyewear to survive a UFC fight, maybe we should start with the gloves. Now you might be thinking, if everyone knows the problem, why hasn't it been fixed? Simple. Money, denial, and inertia. The UFC doesn't like change unless it sells pay-per-views. Fighters don't unionize or demand safety improvements because they're too busy trying to keep their contracts. So the cycle repeats. Eye poke, timeout, doctor check, booing crowd, Dana blames bad luck, and somewhere in the world, Trevor Whitman sighs into a box of unused prototype gloves. The truth is, there's no single fix. It has to be both. We need better gloves and harsher punishment. Better gloves will prevent the accidental pokes, harsher punishment will stop the lazy, reckless ones. Change the design so the hand stays curved. Take a point the first time it happens. Find them if it happens again. And for the love of MMA, stop pretending it's not a big deal. Fighters risk their lives every time they step in the cage. The least the UFC can do is make sure they don't leave half blind. It's insane that a sport built on evolution, of styles, of athletes, and of safety, that we're still losing fights to pokes in the eye. So here's the real solution. Close your fist, fix the gloves, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to finish a main event without someone yelling, "I can't see."